Team, so we're back. We're talking about some Final Fantasy 16, and you know why we are here. We got another trailer for the game, the Revenge trailer, and it's kind of nice going into this event knowing that 16 was going to be there. It seems like they're maybe finally starting to really ramp up the marketing for the game, because we knew this was going to be there, we knew Yoshi P was going to be there, and actually ahead of the event, like a couple days or so, we had an insider that gave us like a release date, and also like got in pre-order items and all that shit. All of it ended up being true. Now, before we hop into the info that's probably worth talking about, I do want to kind of get my thoughts on this trailer. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I've been a little indifferent on 16. I've not really been positive or negative, just kind of in the middle, like whatever. I'm definitely going to get it, going to play it, we're going to talk about it. And in reality, the only thing that I've been negative on when it comes to 16 is the marketing, just because we got that first reveal and it took like damn near a year or whatever to get like that second trailer finally. That's not necessarily the fault of like 16 or Yoshi P. It's a really common like Square Enix thing where they want to show a game off way too early, but what was a little bit different about 16 versus like other stuff is like when they first revealed like Remake, for example, it was just that cinematic we got back in like E3 2015, right? And that was it. There was no gameplay or anything. It was just a brief cinematic announcing the game. The first trailer we ever got for 16 was massive. It was like 3 to 4 minutes. It has actual gameplay in it, but a lot of story elements as well. And then to go like silent for like a year was just frustrating for me. The point of all this is that for whatever reason, this last trailer, the Revenge trailer, kind of got me hyped for the game, and I'm not even really sure what the difference was. I mean, they show gameplay, but we've had gameplay in every single trailer. They do, however, show a little bit of like Clive running around the world, which is something I've been asking for since we got the first trailer. It's taken the fourth goddamn trailer to finally get Clive just traversing the world a bit. But then the trailer also gave us Clive turning into Ifrit, or as they say in these trailers, Ifrit, which I will never get used to saying because, ew, I've been saying Ifrit my entire life. But this was a little bit, I don't know, surprising to me. Maybe I just don't know the lore that much on 16, which is definitely true. Because I believe in the very early days of 16 when it first got revealed, they talked about within the story and the lore that like everybody thought Clive would be the dominant for Phoenix, right? But it ended up being his little brother Joshua. So I always took that as Clive would never have an icon, never be a dominant, but for whatever reason could use their powers or some shit. But we see him turn straight up into Ifrit in the trailers. So if that was revealed prior to this trailer that he was Ifrit's dominant or something, I'd never seen it. So I guess that caught me by surprise. Then you also have the Ifrit 1v1s in the trailer, and I'm kind of interested in that too, because like, why is there two different people or characters that can turn into Ifrit? How is there multiple dominants for the same summon? Like, I don't know, it's just kind of confusing. Kind of piqued my interest. And then maybe most importantly, the trailer confirmed that we can indeed pet the dog. The trailer also gives us a look at some more fights, and I'm assuming boss fights and stuff like that, but also like the gigantic monster you see at the end of the trailer, whatever the hell that thing is, looks awesome. I love fighting gigantic monsters in video games, and that probably honestly goes back to Final Fantasy VII with the fucking weapon enemies. Like, even though they're not super crazy massive compared to our characters, they're still pretty damn big for back then. And also stuff like Shadow of the Colossus always piqued my interest with stuff like that. I love fighting gigantic monsters. Plus just the design of it. I don't know what it is or what it's supposed to be. It just looks fucking cool. And actually, because it's Square Enix, what is this? Probably the final boss of the game that they're showing in the trailer half a year before the game comes out. I think that's probably what it is. And actually, speaking of when the game comes out, we will move on, but those are my thoughts on the trailer. It's actually got me a little more hyped for the game now. So FF16 is dropping next year, June 22nd, 2023, and this is actually interesting for a couple reasons, and we're going to bring in the FF7 discussion as we always do. But when it came to Crisis Core Reunion, 16, and Rebirth, with all those games, we had a window of release, right? This winter, next summer, next winter. But when it comes to these first two games, Crisis Core Reunion and 16, they're actually happening very, very early in those release times, right? Because, in fact, Crisis Core Reunion is coming out December 13th, which is actually not even when the winter season itself starts. That's not until December 21st of this year. So it's actually releasing technically early, if you want to call it that. And when it comes to 16 dropping summer of next year, June 22nd, 2023, it's actually the very second day of when the summer season itself starts. And why all that matters to us over here on the FF7 side of the fandom, us waiting on Rebirth, is there's actually a very real possibility that this game could drop next year. Like, it's very possible. Next winter, it could drop anytime in December. Because it seems like so far-fetched, right? But that's actually happening with these first two games. We got release windows for them, and they're dropping very, very early in those release windows. In fact, technically with Crisis Core Reunion, it's before the release window. Anyways, back to 16. So right here we have the English cover art for the game, and then right here we also have the Japanese cover art, which is obviously an image that we've had for this game for a long time. And just putting the images side by side, I think the English cover art is vastly more appealing than the Japanese, which is often the case when it comes to Final Fantasy games, at least for me. And maybe if the Japanese cover art image was a brand new image, not something we've had for like 2+ years now, I might like it more, but I think the English is better in this case. Obviously, the game is available for pre-order, and if you do, there are pre-order bonuses. You get the Braveheart weapon. I don't know if we know anything about this, if there's any unique like properties to this sword. We also have the Kate Sith, as I'm going to call it, charm, which is a gil boosting accessory, so you equip it onto Clive, and I imagine as you kill enemies, you get more gold. Or gil, I guess. And naturally, of course, there is a deluxe edition of the game, and Surprisingly, from what I can find today, there actually seems to be a difference between the Deluxe Edition physical and digital, which usually isn't the case. I could have sworn yesterday that if you got the Deluxe Edition of this game, you also got the mini art book and like the soundtrack, the standard shit that Square Enix gives with the Deluxe Editions. But everything I can find today doesn't seem to be the case. So if you pick up the physical Deluxe Edition of the game, you're obviously going to get the full game itself, and then a special Clive Rossfield steelbook case, and a cloth map of Valistea where the story unfolds. Which I thought that was pretty cool, right? How often do games include like a cloth map? You get the paper maps and a good chunk of games out there, right? But a cloth one, that seems like pretty decent quality. However, if you get the digital Deluxe Edition, obviously you receive the game, but the mini soundtrack and the mini art book, very, very standard. You get the same pre-order bonuses, but also the Scholar Specs, which is an experience boosting accessory. And again, similar to the art book and the soundtrack stuff, I could have sworn yesterday I seen that the physical Deluxe Edition also would come with the Scholar Specs, but these images are coming directly from Square Enix's website. So I don't entirely know what's going on. I don't know if I've seen something incorrectly or read something incorrectly, but at least for me right now, as much as physical items are cool, kind of leaning more towards the digital edition, because I kind of want those Scholar Specs just to like level up a little bit faster, right? And that seems pretty cool to me. And when it comes to a lot of Final Fantasy games, depending on where you pre-order the game from, you can get bonus items, right? I don't know if any other place is offering a pre-order right now besides the Square Enix store and like the PlayStation store itself, because I can't even find 16 on Amazon right now. But as it stands right now, you do get a bonus item if you pre-order the game physically from the Square Enix store. This is either the standard edition or the deluxe edition. You get the Realms of Valistea wall banners, 6-inch height printed cloth banners. It says banners twice, plural, so you get more than one is what it seems. I don't know how many you get or what they look like, because I don't think we have that yet. So as it stands right now, at least as far as I'm aware, this is the only place that's offering an additional pre-order bonus for the game. Obviously, down the line, there could be other stores like Walmart, Target, GameStop, whatever the case. But you might want to hop on this if you want those wall banners, just because it does say while supplies last. So there's not going to be an infinite amount of those to give out. And actually rereading this, it clearly says one per order while supplies last. So I think when you pre-order the game physically from the Square Enix store, you're getting one of the banners for the different realms that are in the game, right? So I don't think you would know what you're going to get. It's probably random, and maybe they're expecting you to buy a bunch of copies of the game to hope to get them all, which is probably what they're doing. And actually, hopping back to the Scholar Spectacles again really quickly, I just see on the PlayStation Store that if you do pre-order the digital standard edition, you do still get those. So if you're somebody that just wants those in-game bonus items, the Kate Sith Charm, Scholar Spectacles, the sword, Braveheart sword, you can stick with just the standard edition. And let's be completely honest here, the digital art book and digital soundtrack are not worth that extra $20. Save yourself the money. We then also have the Collector's Edition, of course, that comes with quite a bit of stuff. So it reads, available exclusively from the Square Enix store starting Monday, December 12th at 6 p.m. PST, 6 p.m. GMT. The Final Fantasy XVI Collector's Edition is packed full of amazing items that make it a must-buy for any fan of the series. Included in this bumper package is Collector's Box, a beautiful metallic sheen box that features beautiful artwork from legendary Final Fantasy series illustrator Yoshitaka Amano. The full game, premium statue, Phoenix vs. Ifrit, metal icon pin collection, special Clive Rossfield steel case, cloth world map of Valistea, the Blood Sword weapon DLC. And also, if you pre-order it from the Square Enix store, you will get the pre-order steelbook case, the Realms of Valistea wall banners, digital mini art book, digital soundtrack, and Scholar Spectacles in-game, and accessory that boost XP. You guys know the routine at this point, right? It's a collector's edition for a Final Fantasy game. These sell out fast, but now you know the date and the time. And last, I believe, for this video for now is that we have confirmation of what the party is for the game, which there's 4 party members, one of them, of course, being Clive. Then you also have Jill Sidolphus, which is the Sid for our game, and then the dog itself, Torgal, I think that's how I say his name, is actually a party member. And it turns out you can actually issue commands to the dog in the middle of fighting, and I'm going to assume that that's also how it works with the other party members, because if I'm not mistaken, you only control Clive in this game, right? So it's a very similar situation to like the early days of Final Fantasy 15, where you could only control Noctis. Eventually they updated that game, and you could switch to Prompto and the other party members and stuff. But my dudes, I think that is officially where we're going to start wrapping up the video. It's been a while since we've done a 16 video. We don't do these super often. Obviously, it's not the focus of the channel. But I think after this video, and like, it's kind of nice to talk about this game in like a really positive way. It's kind of fun to talk about the game again. And if they're going to start really gearing up and discussing and giving info for the game, I might start covering a little more on the channel if that's what you guys are interested in. It's definitely what I'm interested in at this point. I want to see what else they're doing with this game. Plus, it's nice to have something else to discuss occasionally with the drought we're having so far with FF7, because it's been a little bit since we had something to really talk about. Anyways, but dudes, that's the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Social networks in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @dashingdavidbusiness. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Rogaine, or leave it like Cobain.